Hello everybody and welcome back to my channel. Today I'm going to be filming for you my November TBR. This video is probably going to be going up a little bit late because I've had quite a busy beginning of November, but regardless I still wanted to get this list out for you guys. So for the month of November I'm going to be participating in two different readathons, the first of which is thankfulathon hosted on Twitter. I will leave the Twitter account down below. This is a readathon celebrating American Thanksgiving, I guess, and it's got just a bunch of feel-good type prompts that I just liked, so I decided to give it a go. I am Canadian, I don't celebrate American Thanksgiving, but I liked these prompts, so it's going to be what I'm going to do this one. Also, I'm going to be participating in the final round of believathon hosted by Gavin at How to Train Your Gavin. I'll leave his announcement video and the Twitter page for the readathon down below as well. His readathon is this year Escape the Jungle themed, and he's created a bunch of different cards for you to choose from and create your TBR from. I'm super excited. I'm going to read 5 books for believathon and then the 7 books for thankfulathon. They're all going to overlap, so it's going to be good. But let's just get right into the video. So I'm going to start off with the books that aren't affiliated with either readathon, the first of which is my nonfiction pick for the month and the book that my book club is going to be reading. This book is going to be Whiter by Nikki Kana. This is a collection of essays written by various Asian American women living in the United States and just detailing their experience with racism and being Asian in America. I'm excited about this. This is going to be a good discussion and I can't wait to start in on these essays. I'm probably going to read a couple at a time throughout the month. Next up is my graphic novel pick for the month, and for that I'm going to be reading Snot Girl Volume 2, California Screaming by Brian Lee O'Malley and Leslie Hung. This is a really fun graphic novel series following our main character. The main character is Lottie Pearson. She goes by the nickname Snotty, which is where the name Snot Girl comes from. She is an influencer and she ends up getting caught up in this murder mystery type situation in the first volume, which I'm very excited to see continue in this one. The art style is just so interesting. It's so colorful, it's so bright. The storyline is slightly ridiculous, and I am super excited to continue with it. Next up is my buzzword pick for the month. The month of November, the buzzword is lost, and I don't have a single book on my TBR that I haven't read that has the word lost in it. And instead of buying a new book just for this prompt, I am deciding to reread a book instead. I am going to be rereading The Lost Hero by Rick Riordan. This is the first book in the Heroes of Olympus series, the sequel series to Percy Jackson. This series is set at Camp Jupiter, follows all of our favorite main characters from Percy Jackson, plus an entire set of new characters that I have absolutely loved. I haven't read this book for about 5 years, so I'm excited to start a reread of this series. It's going to be super fun. Next up, I'm going to be reading Well Matched by Jen DeLuca. This is something I'm going to be reading for the thankfulathon prompt of picking a mood read. I know I'm going to want to read an adult contemporary at some point during this month because I have been obsessing over adult contemporaries recently. And this is a highly anticipated book for me. This is one of my most anticipated books of the year, and it is the 3rd book in the Well Met series. The Well Met series follows various characters from this town of Willow Creek, a town that celebrates a Renaissance fair every single summer. It is a huge part of this town, a huge tourist attraction, and something that many of the townsfolk get really into. This this part of the series is following April, who is the older sister of our main character Emily from the first book. And it also follows Mitch, who is the PE teacher and sports coach at the local high school, and also a huge contributor and organizer of the Ren Fair every single summer. He's been a main side character for all of the books. I'm super excited. This book has fake dating and like mild friends to lovers, which I absolutely adore, and it's going to be a super fun time. I cannot wait to read this. Next up, I'm going to be reading The Guest List by Lucy Foley. This is a murder mystery thriller set on a remote island in Ireland during the wedding of 2 pretty famous people. One is a website designer, magazine designer, one is a actor. It follows 5 different perspectives, which is the bride, the plus one, the best man, the wedding planner, and the bridesmaid. All have a secret, all have a motive, but only one is a murderer. As you can tell, by the end of the weekend, by the end of the wedding, somebody dies, and it's kind of a whodunit situation from there. I'm super excited for all the atmospheric vibes I'm going to get from this, and I love a good thriller. I haven't read one in a while, so it's going to be a good time. For thankfulathon, this is going to fulfill the prompt of reading a book that I've owned before but haven't read. And for believathon, this is going to fulfill the prompt of raging rivers, streams, and creeks, moor the raft or float for weeks, read a book that features water. This is set in an island, and it rains a lot in Ireland, so lots of water. Next up, I'm going back to Rick Riordan, and I'm going to be reading the Tower of Nero, aka the 5th book and final book of the Trials of Apollo series, which is the 3rd series or sequel series to the Percy Jackson series. This again follows all of our favorite characters from the Percy Jackson world and the Heroes of Olympus world, with a bunch of new characters from the now Trials of Apollo world. It follows our main character Apollo, who has been sentenced to live on Earth by his father Zeus as a mortal, and as a mortal hormonal 16-year-old boy. It is his worst nightmare. He has none of his powers, he has none of his charm, and he has to try and restore all of his oracles to working order after the events of the final the previous 2 series. He is joined by Meg McCaffrey, who is an adorable new character, an adorable demigod, daughter of Demeter, and many other of our favorite characters from this world in order to fulfill this mission. This is the final book, so I won't get too much into the plot, but I am so excited to see this book come to an end. I can't quite believe that it's already over. It's bittersweet, but I'm excited to see the ending. For thankfulathon, this is fulfilling the prompt of reading a middle grade. And for believathon, the prompt for believathon is a book type you have that is so appealing, follow the hype, and trust your gut feeling. Read a 5-star prediction. I've rated all of these books 5 stars, so I have no doubt this one will follow suit. Next up, I'm going to be reading The Beautiful by Renee Ahdieh. This is a historical fiction vampire paranormal romance book, I believe. Has a lot of different monikers, and I've heard many mixed reviews from this, but I've had it on my TBR for a long time, and I do think I'm going to love it. This follows our main character Celine, who has been kind of adopted by this convent in New Orleans in 1875 after having to flee her life as a dressmaker. She ends up finding out that there is a series of murders that is happening around New Orleans, and one of the bodies is found by the leader of the convent, Sebastian, or found in his home. She has to kind of battle with her own feelings for Sebastian, as well as the weird, murderous happenings that are happening around her at the same time. There's vampires, there's romance, it's historical, set in New Orleans. I think it's going to be a good time. For thankfulathon, I'm reading this for the prompt of reading a book with flowers on the cover, because the dress on the cover is kind of made of flower petals. And for believathon, the prompt is, oh my goodness, now you're staggered. The thoughts you had have now all been shattered. Read a book that you think will surprise you. Again, this one's been on my TBR for a long time. I almost gave up on it, so I'm hoping that it's going to surprise me and really be enjoyable. The next book I'm going to be reading for this readathon is the group book for thankfulathon, and that is Cemetery Boys by Aidan Thomas. This follows 2 main characters. It is a YA fantasy, and it has a trans main character and a gay romance. And it is kind of a whirlwind adventure with this boy and a ghost. I'm super excited about it. That's all I really know about it, but it's something that I've been wanting to read for a very long time. I've heard fantastic reviews. I follow the author on Twitter, and he's absolutely hilarious. For believathon, it is the prompt of more than a billion have different views. It's time to walk in other people's shoes. Read an own voices book. I'm going to listen to it on audio to fulfill my audiobook component for the month, and it's going to be really fun. Finally, the last book that I'm going to try and read this month is Ninth House by Leigh Bardugo. This was on my TBR for October, and I didn't end up getting to it. There seems to be a pattern with this book. I've been trying to read it since 2019 in various different elements, but it's going to happen this month. I'm going to do it. This is a adult mystery, fantasy, paranormal kind of story. This follows our main character Alex, and it deals with Yale's secret societies, ghosts, murder, all the fun things. I've heard it's a really great kind of like dark academia, mystery, thriller. It's definitely going to be super gruesome and dark with the content matter. But I've heard it's fantastic, and people have been dying for the sequel, so I'm excited to get into it. Again, not knowing a whole lot about it, but it's going to be a good time. For thankfulathon, this is going to fulfill the prompt of reading a book that is over 400 pages. And for believathon, this is going to fulfill the prompt of on and on the story goes, read it quick or decompose. Read a long book. So again, it's a book that's a very long book. It's going to be a good time. I really hope I finally finish it this month. I think it's going to be a good transitional book from October to November, taking some of the spooky elements with the murder and the ghosts and bringing in more dark academia, autumnal, wintry vibes with the rest of the book. So I'm excited. Thank you guys so much for watching. I really hope you enjoyed this video. If you did enjoy it, please give it a like, because it really does support my channel, and let me know down in the comments below if you are planning on reading any of these books in the month of November or participating in any of these readathons. If you're new here, please subscribe. I put out new bookish videos every week, and I hope you guys have a lovely day. Bye bye.